I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity, that place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Bucs fans were there too. These Bucs.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by Lee Doom tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
Howdy ho, howdy hey, how the hell are you? Welcome into the Buccaneers podcast. A little bit of a brunch with the Buccaneers this time. Changing things up a little bit like we're hoping Bulls changes things at halftime today. So, we're hoping to bring the luck to the Bucs as it's been a disastrous 2-month stretch of football for our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's been a really disastrous stretch, and they've looked like one of the worst teams in all the league, and we're hoping to start turning things around. And really our last gasp, J-Lo, today I call it our last gasp. If we lose today, we're probably done for the year. J-Lo, welcome in, brother. How the hell are you? Backs are up against the wall. We got KJ and JJ starting linebacker duo. We got Chris Godwin banged up. We got injuries to our secondary. We got a lot of problems going on with this team on both sides of the ball. How do you think we fare today, brother? Welcome in. Happy brunch with the Buccaneers.
Hey, happy brunch, bro. I'm doing good. Well, at least we'll have about 3 or 4 hours before we really get the stress level going. We can enjoy at least some 1 o'clock games. But, yeah, I mean, treating like every game day, man. Get excited, get pumped, You never know what's going to happen. I feel like this is going to be a win today. Honestly, I woke up feeling like a winner, and that's what I feel like for the Bucs. I think they're finally going to end this losing streak and get back on the winning track today.
I feel great. Pete Prisco predicts a big game out of Baker Mayfield. He's usually a Bucs hater, so the fact that Prisco's in our corner, CBS Sports and Networks, Pete Prisco predicted Baker Mayfield to have a big game today despite some injuries and despite the Panthers' reinforcements were returning. We're going to get into that as well, as the Panthers do have help on the way. And we saw the same story kind of play out last year when they got their interim head coach, when the Bucs were facing them with their interim head coach, and they smacked the Bucs around 23-3. They got some healthier guys back. So we're going to crawl into all of that. But first, we'd like to welcome in a lot of great guests so far. We got Ed Kodat, 27-17 Bucs over the Panthers. That would be a nice little win. What it do, peeps? Neil,
What's up, Neil?
how you doing, brother? Welcome to Brunch with the Buccaneers. Hope you're doing well this morning on game day, Neil. Hope you're getting your game day fix in. Hope you're getting your mimosa in, maybe some eggs, all that good stuff. Mike, how we doing, Mike? Happy brunch
Mike?
to you, brother. We hope you're doing good. One of our favorite Canadians, Mike, is in the house. And then the Godfather. Good morning, men.
Godfather.
To you, Godfather. So, packed house, J-Lo. And speaking of packed house, Stunna's in the house as well. Stunna, how the hell you doing, big guy? How you feeling on game day?
I'm ready to fire the cannons and hoist the sails.
Will you be there today?
Yeah, we going.
Hell yeah. You and your brother are going to bring us a win. How's he feeling about the game? Are you guys still ready to rock and roll, or are you guys a little less optimistic than usual?
I think we gain confidence when our opponent sucks. So, like, when we went to the Bears game, it was loaded up with a bunch of Bears fans talking a bunch of trash. And we just kind of laughed because we knew that the Bears sucked worse than we did. So it really didn't matter what they said. We knew we were going to win that game, because they're trash. And I think that's usually where we gain, the confidence is our buck, because we grew up with in the creamsicle days when we were only going to get 5 or 6 wins, and so we knew that when we played a team worse than us, that was our chance to get a win. That's pretty much how the days went.
And now exactly what you said, Stun. I feel like the Bucs could feel it today. They know they could get a win today because they are playing at home against a winnable opponent. And I view this as a little different than last season with the Panthers getting an interim head
Right.
coach. Last year, they were kind of fighting for the playoffs that whole time, right? They were never really out of
Yeah.
it. They didn't have their rookie QB yet, so the guys wanted to win in that locker room. Wilkes was already on his second chance in the NFL, so he wanted to look good. They had a
Yeah.
lot, they had a lot of guys on 1-year contracts like Deontay Foreman. He wanted to run good. This Carolina team's kind of a shell of that one, Stunna. This is a
Yes.
little different. We should be able to pounce on these cats, no pun intended.
Well, they played hard for Steve Wilkes. Okay, they played hard for Steve Wilkes, and they still had some confidence in their defense, in their running game, etc. And they were able to beat us up in Carolina because our offense was just terrible. And they felt good about their defense. Now, this team is obviously a shell. Their defense isn't performing like that. Okay. And our offense is better. I think we can win without Levante, White, and Godwin today because of the way they are. Okay. Not necessarily anything we're going to do. But if you watch the Bucs this season, I've been infuriated the whole time. I don't know why we didn't re-sign Mike when his people came to the table, and he's obviously our franchise player. I mean, he means so much to our community as well. It's just mind-boggling to me. You throw the kitchen sink at him, and the thing about Mike is he'll renegotiate. So we could have got him on. He wanted to be the highest paid receiver. Well, guess what? He deserves that. Let him be the highest paid receiver for one season, and then he'll renegotiate in the offseason to help the team. He's a team guy. He's a Tampa guy. Why would you alienate that guy? So I'm a little miffed for that whole situation. And this season, he's proven he's a franchise. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So, I mean, Brady said he came here for Mike Evans.
And he does. He also seems like he's playing with the chip on his shoulder, Stunna. He seems like he's pissed off.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. He's showing the fans and the organization, bitch, I'm the man. Why didn't you sign me? You're dumb. And then he'll probably go to Houston and go win a Super Bowl, honestly, because of what we're doing. And it'll be another thing like the Doug Williams situation that's going to put this franchise into a tailspin.
Hopefully it doesn't, because as you said, we need to retain Mike Evans, and at all costs, we need to bring him back. He's done more than football for the community. He's done a lot. As Neil says, hit that like button. We appreciate that, Neil. Mike says, I'm usually positive. We just aren't good. Good team. Too many troubles to list it. Starts with the entire coaching staff. That is true. We're not a good football team right now, but damn it, no one is in the NFC South, and somebody has to win it. And why not roll the dice, go out there and win it? But
yeah, the Atlanta Falcons are going to win the South, by the way.
You think so, Stunna? I think they lose today. I think Falcons lose at Jets today.
I agree.
No way. They're not losing
Really?
the Jets.
Is it in New York?
Yeah, the Falcons are going to beat us. The Falcons are going to sweep Carolina. They're going to sweep us. They split with the Saints. They're the champs.
They're going to lose to the Jets today. That Jets defense is going to feed into Desmond Ridder like crazy in New York. Robert Saleh.
Yeah, I don't care. The Jets won't score a field goal.
The Falcons defense is terrible. Will Levis had his only good game as a rookie against
I agree, they're terrible. But have you watched the Jets on offense lately? They look terrible.
I agree, but so do the Titans, and they made that defense look like it was, a punching bag. So I think Breece Hall and Delvin Cook actually have the opportunity to get going today. J-Lo, we'll start with you. We'll give you that game. What do you think happens in Jets-Falcons in New York, 1 o'clock Eastern? Falcons are 2-point favorites. Tim Boyle against Desmond Ridder, very underwhelming quarterback matchup. Which one do you think has the upper hand? Who do you think wins that one, J-Lo? And then, Stunna, we're going to get your thoughts on the Saints taking on Detroit.
They both are not very good teams. I can agree to that. But I'm going to go with the Jets at home. And maybe an ugly win, because Tim Boyle is really not much of an upgrade to Zach Wilson. But I do like the Jets defense to kind of shut down Desmond Ridder and keep Bijan Robinson in check. I mean, they got Algier too. I mean, I just think that'll be mostly a field goal win game, and I think the Jets will be able to pull it out, with the win. I just don't see a lot of hype behind Atlanta. They're just as bad as we are, really to even streak. I mean, I can't agree, with Stun. Atlanta could win the South, but right now, it's a three. To me, it's a three-way, race. If you had to ask me, obviously Carolina, they're out of it, in my opinion, even though they're still in it statistically, whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, I feel like if the Bucs can get back on the winning track today, I think they'll give Atlanta a good game next week, and the winner of that, I feel like, will take the division, if you ask me.
Yeah, Stunna, what's your thoughts? So just say our scenarios hold true. Say if the Falcons do end up losing today, like J-Lo and I think, and say the Bucs end up winning today, that would mean if the Saints lose, there'd be a three-way tie for first. Stunna, how do you see the Saints game playing out today, 1 o'clock Eastern time in New Orleans, Detroit, in the fight in Dan Campbell's take on his former team? This could be a Dan Campbell revenge game. He could be going into there looking to bite some kneecaps of his former employer. What say you, Stunna? Lions at Saints, who you got?
I got the Lions, and I agree it's a Dan Campbell day. And, if you work for an organization for a number of years, when you go back, even though you don't have any animus, you still want to show, the type of, legacy you hold with that organization. You know what I'm saying? And so, I could see him doing it. Mike Tomlin did it here when Pittsburgh came in and beat us on Monday night one year when they sucked, and we got screwed in that game because Deshaun Jackson had a punt return that they called back. But same thing, Mike Tomlin worked for our organization for a number of years. He comes back, he wants to show it. I think that we get that with McVay and with your boy the 49ers always trying to put it in our face too. All right, because they were both Buccaneers assistants, and I think whenever they come back to town, they try to really stick it to us. And I can see Dan Campbell doing that. And let's just face it, man. Detroit's got a better team than the Saints. If the Saints win, it's going to have to deal with a lot with momentum and being the home team. So I can see Detroit winning that game. I can see the Saints pulling the upset. And honestly, let's see what happens. Because if the Saints want to play for their head coach's job, is this guy popular? Because we know the Bucs are not playing for Todd Bowles' job. They all want him out of here. So Baker Mayfield pretty much tipped that off to the media by accident, I believe. But, he got to be careful, when we have our snakes in the media, how honest you are with them. But do they like their coach in New Orleans? That's the question. So this will be a tall tale because Dan Campbell is a former Saint assistant, and he's gonna, just like if the Broncos played the Saints, you don't think Payton would want to stick it to them? Of course he would. His pride on the line. It's your legacy. So let's see who wants to play for their head coach down the stretch. Does Atlanta want to play for their head coach? Because honestly, they're the most talented team right now, and they have the easiest track to win the division. Do they want to play for their head coach, or do they want him fired? Do the Bucs want to play for our head coach? Hell no. And do the Saints want to play for their head coach? Because out of them three coaches, whoever wins the South is going to keep their job, and the other two are getting fired. So let's see what happens down the stretch. I'm going to take Detroit by 4.5.
I definitely could see that playing out like that, and I think Detroit with the spread, I'd be giving the points as well, Stunna. I think you make some great points. So all these teams are pretty much going to have to, quote-unquote, play for their coaches at this point in time. As Nestor Cervantes says, good morning from California. And I'm going to be honest with you, Atlanta might be the only team that plays for their coach. I don't think New Orleans is going to want Dennis Allen around. I kind of think he's got Todd Bowles vibes in that Saints locker room for their current standing. But we're going to bring in Katz here as we start talking about injuries a little bit. Katz, how you doing, brother? And secondly, Chris Godwin sounds like he should go barring something tragic happening overnight with his neck, do you think Godwin's neck injury impacts him at all today and how much he's on the field, Cats?
Yeah, I don't get the feeling that that's going to have too much of an impact. If it's something where they're pretty much saying, "Yeah, he's fine," we just kind of threw him on the injury report. With that type of ailment, I don't think that'll have too much of an impact on the game today.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Godwin's one of those tough son of a guns that will play through it and have a very, very efficient game. I think he's due for an efficient game, and I think Carolina will bring a lot of attention to Mike Evans today, and I think it will give the opportunity to Godwin to at least maybe get that efficient game going. And J-Lo, we're going to ask you this now. Linebackers, little thin, KJ and JJ time. JJ Russell, undrafted free agent last year out of Memphis. KJ Britt, mid-round linebacker pick out of Auburn a couple years back. How do you think these two fare together? I mean, can't be much worse than what we've seen out of Devin White to this point. It would have been nice to get Servachier Dennis some much-needed reps in there, and he's more of the future, but these two cats are young as well, and they have to prove if they could be starters potentially, reserves, or even practice squad worthy. So at some point, it's not terrible to see some of the guys toe the leather that don't normally do. And I'm very excited to see KJ Britt, but more so my man JJ Russell. Love that guy. I'm very excited to see what these two could do today, J-Lo. What say you on the Bucs linebacker injury situation and KJ and JJ stepping in today?
Well, I call it a tryout, pretty much. I mean, we already know Devin White's going to be out the door. He will not be back next year. So this gives KJ Britt, it gives a guy like JJ Russell trying to keep a job, stay on the roster. So this is a good thing. I think they both will give their best efforts. And like you said, it can't be any worse than what we have going on with Devin White. And then Servachier Dennis, it's unfortunate for him. I was really looking forward for him getting more reps, calling the plays pretty much. I think he would be the play caller on the defense. But now we get, KJ Britt, who's been in the league for a couple of years. I think he's ready to step in there against a really depleted Panthers team and, keep them out and help, shut down the run. Hopefully do great in the pass play. I mean, Carolina's pretty much down two of their tight ends. They only got the third tight end in there, so I don't see how it could be a struggle for those two, especially for KJ Britt, who's already been in the league for a couple of years. So I think he's ready to go in there and make a name for himself. And he could be the replacement for Devin White, if we can manage to get Levante David back. But that's another discussion. But I'm excited, I think this is going to be a fun day for the defense. I think we're going to actually play some good D today.
I think it's a good chance to get after Bryce Young, and I'll never forget before the year when Tom Krasnicki from WDAE asked Kalijah Cansey, our first-round pick, hey, how do you feel that you're going to see Bryce Young 2 times a year now? And Kalijah said, hey, Tom, Bryce is going to have to see me 2 times a year. I'm looking forward to see what Kalijah Cansey could do front and center today. But a couple more injuries to talk about. Stunna, we'll go with you for the defensive backs. Jamel Dean remains out today. And Carlton Davis, Zion McCollum, Josh Hayes, they're going to have some big games back there today in terms of manning their coverage. I really like Carlton should be fine on Thielen. I think that's a good matchup for Carlton. I think Thielen is the type of receiver that Carlton could handle pretty well. So it really comes down to our young cats against their young cats, and they're going to have the Mingos of the world, and we're going to have the Hayes of the world. Stunna, how do you feel about our D-back situation today with Jamel Dean down?
Yeah, I think we'll be all right. I mean, I think we should have addressed. Well, I don't know. I think we should have addressed the cornerback situation in the offseason. I don't think Zion is any more than a special teams player right now. So forcing him into the lineup is not going to be, extremely productive. But we should be all right with their passing game. I'm more concerned with them running the ball and our run defense the way it's looked lately.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We'll see what happens as Kathy joins as a season ticket holder. It's sad that I'm more bummed about not being able to watch 49ers Eagles game. Trying hard to find the positive. It's tough. I'll be there though. Well, I mean, why would like okay, I get the Bucks haven't been great and those teams have been great, but if you could go to an in-person football game, you should love that opportunity. And it's your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know we've been struggling. I know Carolina's been struggling, but my lord, we already experienced we already got to watch the Eagles and 49ers this year. I could see if it's two obsolete teams that aren't on the Bucks schedule, right? Say if it's a Chiefs against the Bills matchup, and we don't really get to see a Mahomes or Josh Allen. But these are two teams we both seen, Kathy. So I'm going to tell you, enjoy the game today because it could be our last meaningful game for a while. So enjoy it. Go
We
there.
gotta watch the Niners and the Eagles in the playoffs because we won't be there.
Yeah, okay. But if you're a Bucks fan, you'd rather be at the Bucks game regardless. So enjoy your team. Go out.
Absolutely, we got to enjoy our games we get because we won't be in the postseason. So just enjoy the Bucks while we got them on TV.
And not even just that, but we don't get many games a year regardless. So you got to enjoy him while you get him. I don't get so many Bucks fans, just man, kicking this team around. I know it's bad, but Cats, we're going to talk about this one next a little bit. What's our cap situation like for next year? It does go up, Mike D. We don't have to pay. Brady's big hit came off this past season, $35 million. That's what helped create that $55 million negativity towards our cap last year. A lot of that was biting the Brady bullet. We don't have to bite that anymore. And Mike, pretty much as the years go on, we're going to be getting more and more cap back on our side. As we get farther away from our Super Bowl win, our credit card bill is going to become smaller and smaller and smaller because we're paying all these guys really between last year, this year, next year, a little bit, and a little bit the year after. Then we're pretty much done. Next year, I think we catapult back to normalcy. I think we'll be about around middle of the pack in cap room, I want to say, in terms of NFL standing. And we should have some money to negotiate with next year. Nothing insanely high like we did years ago when we brought, a couple high-end free agents in like Deshaun Goldson and Darrell Revis that one year and gave them all that money when we were living that large. But we're going to have room to play with next year. Cats, we're not quite going to talk about next year yet, but I'm just saying I want to get your take. This team should be a little bit more active, especially if we do get a new coaching staff in the offseason next year, because as we know, new coaches bring roster turnover.
They do, and kudos to Mike Greenberg, and forgetting her name now. What is the name of his assistant? I can't remember her name now. I don't want to shortchange anybody. Jackal, I can't think of her name. The other one who's done an incredible job in the front office with the cap.
I think it's Jackie.
Thank you. Yes.
Person Jackie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't remember her last name, but nonetheless, they've done a great job. We had to, the bill for Brady was going to come due. We knew that. That's happened this year. That's kind of made it difficult to put together as much depth as we'd like, perhaps. That's why you're seeing, roster deficiencies along the margins, so to speak. But I think there'll be some room next season to play around with that. Obviously, you've got, you want to be able to re-sign Mike Evans. I know that hasn't happened. I don't know. Obviously, that's another discussion for another day. But hopefully there's enough cap space to do that, among others. But it is looking more promising next season than it was this season. That's for sure.
Yeah, Mike, I know you're worried about next year, and I appreciate that, but we're going to talk about next year closer to the off season. We're mid-November, or we're beginning of December, only a game back of the playoff contention, so I'm not really worried about spending this off season, to be quite honest with you. As a Bucs fan, we've talked about the off season far too often, far too early. So, we'll talk about it for 1 or 2 minutes here or there, but all these questions about the off season, put those in the back pocket. Save them for a pod in about a month and a half from now. So we'll deal with that when we get there. Other than that, we're going to do Bucs Bets now. We're going to look around the Bucs game and see what prop bets we like, and then we're going to get into some other NFL score predictions, and then do our final segments and keep it going. As Neil says, the glass man, Mike, my apology. Don't be sorry, Mike. I get it. worried about the off season. A lot of us are, but you know, I'm just worried about fighting for this season still and seeing how.
Tell him we're gonna do a Buc podcast from the Reese's Senior Bowl one of these days. Whatever we know, we get the number 1 or 2 pick. So just tell him relax. We got the off season covered.
Exactly, we got the off season covered. You know, Stunna and I and the rest of the guys, we do a draft episode every year. We do a lot of good things every year. So don't go anywhere. Kathy's saying we got to rally around our team. Speaking around rally around our team, we're going to do our Bucs Bets segment where we call out some prop bets and interesting bets and see if we like these bets. In the world of betting, as J-Lo has college football covered. J-Lo, keep that in the back pocket, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But passing yards. Today, we're going to start with Cats here. Cats, Baker Mayfield over under passing yards is 219.5. Do you like that yardage, Cats? Do you think Baker Mayfield gets over or under 219.5? But playoff football is official. Florida State misses out. Florida State is missed out on the college football playoff.
They put Bama in. Are you fucking kidding me?
Which
They
is
put
terrible.
Bama in there?
That's terrible.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna laugh.
This committee should be ashamed. This
Bama.
college football committee should be embarrassed and ashamed. And now there's pretty much no good reason to go undefeated if you're a big college football program, I guess. Because
when they started the playoffs, they did away with that.
That's terrible.
That's why they should do a bigger format of the playoffs, because that 4 teams BS. Even though
no, they need to go. They have +1. There's nothing wrong with +1. Name the 4 teams that made it.
It is Michigan, Washington, Texas, Bama.
Oh, Bama.
Okay, so did Washington beat Oregon or not?
Twice.
Washington beat Oregon.
Yeah, well then that's the Final Four.
But Bama should not be in over Florida State.
Didn't Bama just beat Georgia?
They did.
But they also lost to Texas.
Okay, what's Texas' record?
They lost 1 game. They're 12-1.
There you
Texas
go.
is a loss.
Hey, as a Miami Hurricanes fan, I remember watching Oklahoma play Florida State, and when we beat Florida State, sweet justice, 2000 national championship. Look it up.
It's just crazy to me that they did that. How I don't know. I guess going undefeated means nothing. I'm not even a Florida State fan at all, but I guess
because it's about ratings, Tone. That's why.
I know it's about ratings.
Teams are going to? That's why they did that. You said I don't know why they did that. Well, that's why they did that. These 4 teams are playing the best football, and they're going to demand the highest ratings as far as the advertising is concerned. Because at the end of the day, it goes back to that almighty dollar. So that's the reason they did it.
Yeah, but I agree with everything you said besides playing the best football, because Florida State's playing the best football as they're undefeated. I know their schedule might be a little easier than
Florida State struggled with Miami and with Florida, even though those teams are state rivals. I get it. And then they really got lucky against
Alabama
Louisville
struggled with South Florida. Struggled with South Florida.
Alabama beat LSU, worse than Florida State, beat Georgia, and has a way more impressive resume running through the
All
SEC.
I'm saying is we can't say, oh, they barely beat Miami and stuff when Alabama barely beat South Florida. That is unacceptable. It's terrible. There is no morals in this stuff, and it's unacceptable to have a team go undefeated in a Power 5 conference and not make the playoffs. It's a bunch of crock of shit. I'm sorry.
Who do you take out?
They almost lost to Miami. Bama almost lost to South Florida. Texas almost had a couple bad losses on their schedule as well. Washington almost lost to Washington State. A lot of these teams almost lost to shit shows. And then you take an undefeated team out. You're pretty much proving to a lot of these teams, hey, you could go undefeated and you still might not make the playoffs. It's ridiculous. It's terrible. And it's blasphemy. I get the ratings part, but Alabama cannot sit here today and say.
So you think Florida State is better than Ohio State?
Team than Florida State. I'm sorry.
So you think Florida State is better than Ohio State?
Yes. Absolutely, I do.
Okay, I disagree. I think Ohio State's better.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that, but we are, talking Bucs Panthers, so I'll calm it back down and wheel it back in here a little bit. But sorry, I just, as we do have some chiming in. Puckhead Mr. H says they are crazy for doing this. They want Harbaugh and Michigan out. That's a good theory. They're gonna make it a little harder on Michigan in theory with because these teams are kind of more SEC. They beat up on Big Ten a little bit, but man, this is just blasphemy. I don't get this in Mike D money talk as Seminole Walk. Unfortunately, yep, it is about money.
That's what I said too. Agree with him.
Yeah, but then you threw in the better football and these losses and didn't get that part. I agree with
Ohio State. Ohio State is playing much better football right now than Florida State.
Well, one was in a championship game, winning the championship game, and one wasn't in a championship game at all. That's all I could say about that. But the Godfather says 24-14, Bucs end up winning. Thanks for tuning in, Godfather. Go set up the man cave. Eric says going to the game today. Let's go Bucs. Awesome stuff, Eric.
And Devin White's not playing today, Eric. Just so you know.
Devin White's out. Eric says Bama beat Georgia. Georgia's not a playoff team, so Bama beat. All these discussions. It's like bottom line is they need more than a 4-team playoff because
that's what I say. Open it
the
up.
The 4-team playoff, but I don't know. I think Florida. If you're in a Power 5 and you go undefeated, I can't argue against you making the playoffs. I just can't do it. Tyler Sharp pulling up pregame tailgate with Grammatica, Marpet, and House. Have fun, buddy. That sounds incredible. I know Grammatica is one of your favorites. Ellie Marpet's also the man. Mike Baker passes for 326 yards, 3 tutties, 2 interceptions.
Oof.
Cats, we can finally get back to the question at hand. As Puckhead said, that's true. Money talks about the college football playoffs, and you guys could comment on college football playoffs or Bucs game or so much more. We'll be here for about 18 to 20 more minutes or so. But Cats, Mayfield over under 219.5 yards. Sorry about that, everybody.
That's okay.
Now,
I like the over on that. I'd go over on that. I don't think the Bucs have run the ball marginally better recently, but not great. I think he'll go over that. I like him to go over that number.
I agree with you there, Kat. So I'm on the same page. J-Lo, you're next here. Receiving yards. Mike Evans over or under 61.5 receiving yards?
Easy, over. Over. He's gonna have he's gonna get over 1,000 yards receiving for the season today. He's gonna make an example out of J.C. Horn today.
I hope so. I think so as well. Stunna, K-Dot, and over under 29.5 receiving yards for the young tight end.
All right, he'll probably go over that with 2 drops.
Stunna, man, you're so negative now. I can't blame you, but everything is just always negative connotation in there. Cats, Trey Palmer.
Because I'm a draft guy, and I'm a build roster guy, and we got to do a better job building this roster. And I think Jason Lights need to go ahead and hire me as the pro director of scouting, so we can bring in some better players.
I will say our 2023 draft is looking incredible. I mean, we're going to get 4 starters out of that one, probably a lot.
Yeah, that's college. That's college drafting. Pro director scouting is who brings in free agents.
Oh yeah, that is true. Cats, Trey Palmer over under 23.5 receiving yards.
23.5. Yeah, I'll go over that. I don't see him having a big day, but I think he'll go over that amount.
I agree with you there. I think he'll get over that as well. J-Lo, strictly
with 5 drops.
5 drops. Jeez.
I expect he might drop a ball or two too, but I think he'll go over that 23 number or 23.5.
Trey Palmer, he always is good for a drop, but maybe today it's a day that changes, man. Freaking Stunna's negative Nancy out the ass these days. It's like,
just don't give it to Tompkins. Anybody but Tompkins. Please don't stop throwing him the ball.
J-Lo, Rashad White over under rushing yard total 68.5, just rushing yards.
So that was a tough one, but Rashad White's really been coming on the last few weeks, running the ball. So I would take that bet. I think he'll definitely get over that amount of rushing yards.
Stunna, over under receiving and rushing yards combined. Rashad White, 93.5 receiving and rushing yards combined.
You threw me for a loop. I thought you were going to give me that 60-some rushing yards. I was going to say under. Yeah, he'll go over that because he'll get a lot of checkdowns and screen passes because we won't be able to run the ball.
Mike says Palmer, 23 drops today. White, a fumble. What the hell's going on, man? All these drops and fumbles and man,
You think he's gonna drop 23 passes?
I actually like White. I don't like our run block in front of him.
Cats, what were you saying?
If he said that Palmer was going to get drop 23 passes today, that'd be a lot of targets, man. How many guy getting targeted 23 times?
Baker's arm might be hanging like a freaking pendulum stick after the game.
Baker's going to have to throw it 70 times to beat a 1-2 team.
Cats, Chase McLaughlin over under 7.5 kicking points. So he could get there by 2 field goals and 2 extra points, 3 field goals. Do you think McLaughlin gets more than 7.5 points today?
Yeah, I'll go over that one. I think they'll score enough points to where he'll be able to get over that number.
I like that. I think they'll have to settle for a couple field goals, so I think that's a good one as well. Tackles, J-Lo. Antoine Winfield over under 7.5 tackles. Do you think Winfield gets the over?
For sure, I think he will. I think he'll be our leading tackler today. Truthfully, because we got 2 new starter linebackers today, I think Winfield's gonna be more involved, in the box more, trying to make the tackles, shut down the running game.
I agree with that. And Stunna, last but not least, this is the last betting one before we get to our look around the NFL, then our one big things and walk-offs, and final words for this brunch with the Buccaneers here on the Buccaneers podcast. And we're going to make a giveaway announcement as well, so pay attention for that on our X, formerly known as Twitter. Stunna, I think I probably know where you're going with this one since you've been a negative little Nancy today, but that's all right. We forgive you.
It's called reality.
Total interceptions thrown by Bryce Young, over under 0.5 an interception.
Under. He'll throw 0 interceptions, and our DBs will have 3 drops. Now, I got to go ahead and get my big thing and walk off because I got his baby shower to go to, and my niece will disown me if I don't show up soon.
Hey, congrats.
Congrats.
Yeah, I'm my uncle, man. How you like that shit?
Hopefully you're a little more positive there than you are here.
Heck no. Another girl, man. My whole family's all girls. Isn't that crazy? I'm an alpha male raising a bunch of girls. But
that's all right.
Hey, they need that raising though, right? Might as well teach them right. So one big thing. Let's fill the stadium up, man. I'm telling you right now, people talk about the Detroit game, and I told you, well, who we played last time. I forgot who we played last home game. And I said all the Detroit fans are going to be filled with empty seats, and that's what it was. One big thing, we got to start selling these tickets if we're going to be a respectable fan base. Let's not go out like the Rays. Haha, joke intended. And then a walk-off is, let's finish this season on whatever high note we can. Let's regroup our money. Let's sign our vets, and let's go get some players in here so we can compete for that NFC South again. Go Bucs.
Thanks for tuning in, Stunna. Have fun at the shower, and enjoy the Bucs game today later with your brother. You got a fun day on hand, it seems like.
Yeah, man. Out here in sunny Tampa, Florida. It's hotter than a book. Hope you guys are staying hydrated.
You as well, brother. Take care, my man, and talk soon. All right, fellas.
Yeah, man. Go Bucs. Buccaneers. Always a pleasure, man. One for all for one. Let's do this.
Yes,
Absolutely. Have a great day, brother. That's a great Stunna right there. One of our great co-hosts. Is we're going to do some look around the NFL now. We already predicted 2 games today, so we knocked 2 off. We're going to start with myself, then we'll go to J-Lo, then Cats, yada, yada, yada. 1 o'clock Eastern. Let me cue the music for NFL score predictions. Like we always get some music going for these in the background. Cardinals at Steelers, 1 o'clock Eastern. Cardinals are +6. Give me the Steelers minus that 6. I think Steelers have a big win today with their newer offensive coordinator playing better under him. J-Lo, Chargers at Patriots, Patriots are getting 4.5 at home. That's 1 o'clock Eastern. Who do you like in that one, J-Lo?
Chargers. Patriots are one of the worst teams in football right now.
Cats, or we already did Lions, Saints. Colts at Titans. Colts are -1. That game kicks off in about 20 minutes as well. Who you got there, Cats?
I like the Colts in that one.
I'm shocked. I know it's in Tennessee, but I'm shocked they're only -1. I thought it'd be at least 2.5 there. So I agree with you there, Cats. Broncos at Texans. Broncos 3.5-point underdogs, 1 o'clock Eastern on the road. I think Texans win that one, but I think Broncos cover the 3.5. That's a lot of points to give to a pretty good hot streak right now. Give me the Broncos getting 3.5 there, 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff. J-Lo, Dolphins at the Commandos. The Commandos are +9 at home. Pretty big spread, biggest spread of the day. In fact, you got the Commandos covering.
Yeah, I see the Dolphins going there, take care of business, beat up on a bad football team. I don't blame the spread on it at all. Like I said, the Commanders are a very troubled football team. They're kind of like us, with the coaching staff and all that. So, yeah, give me the Dolphins on the road in Washington.
Moving into the later games of the day, Browns at Rams, 4:25 Eastern. Rams are -3.5. The great Joe Flacco returns to quarterback in the Browns. Cats, what veteran QB you going with? Flacco getting the 3.5 points, or Matt Stafford at home?
I think I'm going with Flacco more so because of the Browns' defense. I look for them to have a bounce back game.
And their run game is always just so good, right? No matter who is back there for the Browns, their defense and running game keeps you in the thick of things. 3.5 points, that is a lot over there. J-Lo, 4:25 Eastern. Probably the game of the day besides our Bucs Panthers. 49ers given 3 on the road against Philly. That's a cross-country battle, and the 49ers are given 3. Where does your heart lie there? Do you like the Eagles and the points at home? I see that hard to pass up.
It's a really hard pass up. This is going to be definitely the game of the day. But I like Philly at home with their home crowd. I think they'll definitely get to Brock Purdy today and try to keep Christian McCaffrey in check. I mean, the Niners are up there, but when you go to Philly, man, Lincoln Financial, that's a hard field to go win in, man. That's a hard place.
Yeah, and then we'll end today with Cats before I end it with tomorrow's Monday Night Football. Cats, tonight's Sunday night game, suddenly a fun one with the hot and emerging Green Bay Packers with a good-looking Jordan Love all of a sudden. They're 5.5-point underdogs at home. 8:20 kickoff. Chiefs travel to Lambeau. Who do you like in that one, Cats?
Well, that's a pretty big number on the road. Although the Chiefs, and it is the Chiefs. I like Kansas City to win that game, but as far as I don't want to touch. Like, I think KC will win the football game, but I don't want.
I agree with that. 5.5. 5.5 is too much, I think, at home for the Packers. I think Chiefs win, but I think Packers cover that 5.5. Last but not least, tomorrow, Monday Night Football, 8:15 Eastern. Bengals are getting 10 on the road against Jacksonville. I'll go ahead and take the Bengals with the points. I think Jaguars win pretty easily, but I think Bengals end up losing by around the 8 to 9 to 10 mark, and I think Bengals keep it close enough where they end up covering that spread. Just like that, we're almost towards the end here, but we're going to give our one big thing in walk-offs for game day. Then our final word as we're preparing for a 4:05 kickoff start time for our Tampa Bay Bucs as they continue to fight for the playoffs here, and they are on 4:05 and CBS, and they got a pretty good announce crew today as well. But J-Lo, what's your final? No, we're going to get to final words next. What's your one big thing to look out for in today's Buccaneers game at 4:05 Eastern?
My thing to look out for is the 2 linebackers stepping in for Devin White and Levante David today. I'm expecting some good play by both of them. I think they're definitely going to be, doing what they're supposed to do as far as getting to the quarterback and try to contain the short passes, the screens, and all that. So I say a big lookout for the 2 linebackers stepping in today on the defense.
KJ and JJ, let's see how they roll. Cats, what's your one big thing to look out for in today's Bucs Panthers 4:05 kickoff with Feely, Tom McCarthy, and Lofton on the call?
I want to see how the Bucs go about attacking J.C. Horn, given that it's his first game back after injury. And I don't think he's played it. Has he played it all this year? Maybe a few snaps early in the season. If
Only
anything.
a handful, literally a handful of snaps. That's about it.
Obviously a great corner, but hasn't played in a very long time. So I'll be interested to see how they attack him and if they're able to, if he's, fully in football shape, or if they're able to maybe take advantage of him just coming back.
Love that there. And my one big thing to look out for in today's game is, again, 1 o'clock. Be looking out for the scores of those Saints and Falcons games. And then we get the Panthers in our game. So if you keep your eyes on those and you watch the Bucs, you'll be able to see all 4 NFC South teams at once. Not at once, but over the duration of the day. If Bucs beat Carolina, A, Carolina's pretty much eliminated. And B, if the other two lose, Saints and Falcons were tied for first, ladies and gentlemen. So pay close attention to the 1 o'clock NFC South games before the NFC South matchup of Panthers at Tampa, 4:05 Eastern. And then I'll give my final word. Final word is this. If the Bucs win tonight, look out at our X, at our Twitter, BUCCATEERS. We're going to be doing a tremendous giveaway tonight. Included in that giveaway is going to be a Buccaneers mini helmet. It's going to be a Mike Elstott Hall of Fame coin. And it's going to be a redeemable voucher for either a Buccaneers Hanukkah or Christmas t-shirt. We got those on the works, and those should be in during the holiday season as well. So once again, if the Bucs win, go over to our X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, BUCCATEERS. We're going to have a good holiday giveaway package, which will start a whole line of giveaways, and that package will include a Buccaneers mini helmet, a voucher to redeem for a Hanukkah or Christmas shirt, and then a Mike Elstott Hall of Fame Bucs coin as well. Cats, final words for the pods, final thoughts, brother.
Yeah, well, it's certainly, this season has gone in the wrong direction to this point. But that said, yes, it is in large part due to a lousy division, but the Bucs are still in the hunt. So I'm going to keep supporting them, and hopefully we can get right back in this division race today with a win.
Let's do it, man. Let's get back into that one with the win. J-Lo is a little missy left for a second here. What's your final word before you got daddy duties to take care of?
Well, she said go Bucs, and she's going to be right there with me, trying to keep me in a calm manner from good to bad. But I'm excited, man. Hey, enjoy those 1 o'clock games. Hopefully the division works in our favor, and fuck the playoff system and college football, and go Bucs.
Go Bucs, man. Go Bucs.
Say go Bucs. Say go Bucs, Gracie. Say go Bucs.
Our littlest contributor is saying go Bucs right
go
there.
Bucs.
And, I kind of understand where people were coming from, like the Stunners of the world and stuff. But at the end of the day, if any of our favorite college football teams win undefeated and miss the playoffs, everybody would be upset. But it is what it is. Go Bucs. We got the Brady Bunch looking in here. It's awesome, everybody. Have a great game day. Until next time. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. We got it. J-Lo and Co. Cats, have a blessed day, everybody.
Yay!
Yay, I can't find a button. Woohoo! Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Bucs fans were there too. Beat Bucs.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by Lead Goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE. Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like